Getaway Day. As always, I am Mason, he is Gautam, and we are going bananas for the Savannah Bananas. Woo! Our logo may need changed a little bit because it says Major League Baseball Podcast, and I was thinking about this the other day. With everything that's coming up in just in baseball in general, with Banana Ball, with the Professional Women's Baseball League, heck, maybe we talk about some Athletes Unlimited Softball League at some point. We might at some point just need to change it to a baseball podcast.
Yes.
No, so we actually want to talk to you about exactly that tonight. The Savannah Bananas came to Chicago this weekend. They actually played 2 games at not Guaranteed Rate. It is officially now Rate Field, down on the south side of Chicago. And let me tell you, it was an experience. So I think we should probably talk about this a little bit more structured than just, hey, Mason, you went to the game? What happened? So I think, first of all, how many people do you think actually know what Banana Ball is?
It's kind of a sensation right now, right? A lot of people know about it, but I don't know if people know exactly what it is.
It is a sensation, but I feel like it's almost more of a sensation with people who were not avid baseball fans before.
Agreed. Yeah. Because I don't really know that much, and obviously I'm an avid baseball fan.
Well, and funny enough, I am not the most knowledgeable on Banana Ball in my family.
Okay, yeah. So,
and my family knows very little about baseball. Anything they do know, I have told them. So the fact that my sister calls me and then lore dumps on the Savannah Bananas and tells me about all these things that are happening at these games and all these players, and it's like, okay, there's something here. So I guess, first of all, I think we should probably talk about what the Savannah Bananas is, just in general. And it probably makes sense to start at the beginning, right?
Say so.
So the Savannah Bananas, and I think I'm probably going to get into some stuff here that you are not fully aware of. So they actually started back in 2016 as a collegiate summer league team for the Coastal Plains League. At the end of 2015, the what was the name of the team that was before them? The Savannah Sand Gnats. They actually moved up to Columbia, South Carolina, and the Coastal Plains League actually announced that Savannah would get a replacement team. So they end up going and doing a fan name the team contest. The fans picked the name, the logo, the colors, a whole bunch of stuff. And they branded as the Savannah Bananas. So this is just a generic college summer league team from 2016 until 2018. And then they started trying to figure out ways to draw more fans in, because collegiate summer ball, you kind of got to be like a super rabid baseball fan to go to a lot of games for collegiate summer ball. It's one of those that it's like the minor leagues, but because it's such a short time span throughout the year, it's hard to get people to become diehard fans of that team. The players change out every year, that sort of thing. So in 2018, they started coming up with rules of what they called Banana Ball. And it was just something that was, they did entirely as exhibition games, just trying to get more fans into the stadium. And really, they settled on 10 rules, which I have before me. And these 10 rules are what differentiate it from standard baseball. So if it's not in these, well, I guess it's 11 rules. Sorry, 11 rules. If it's not in these 11 rules, think Major League Baseball. Same rule as that. Well, how many of the rules do you know, actually? I'm curious.
I read the book. I read the book today.
You read the whole book today?
No, I read the rules.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant you read the owner's book. Like,
Oh no, I don't even know what that is.
I'll get you the name of it. You probably really like it. But yeah, he has a book just about his entire backstory, the backstory of the team.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so basically, Banana Ball, every inning counts. If you win an inning, you get a point. And you're not necessarily just trying to score the most runs throughout the game. I mean, if you do, odds are pretty good that you're going to win. But if you score 10 runs in one inning and then don't score again, and the other team puts up 9, the other team's probably going to win because their 9 runs are going to be spread out over multiple innings. The only inning that is not worth a singular point is the 9th. The 9th inning, every single run counts. And so that makes it so that the game isn't over in the 5th inning. If one team goes up and wins the first 5 innings, the other team can only max out at 4. That's not really all that fun. So every run counts in the 9th inning. Another rule that they have, that this is something Major League Baseball had been trying to figure out for a long time, is how to speed up the game. So they just straight up put a time limit on the game. It's 2 hours. Does not go over. The only way that it would go over is if it was tied at the end of the 2 hours. Then they would do a showdown.
So even if you're in the top of the inning, like the other bottom team hasn't batted, the game just ends at 2 hours?
Sorry, you do get to finish the inning.
Okay.
Yes, you finish the inning, and then if it's still tied, then you'll do the tiebreaker. But generally, 9 innings or 2 hours, whichever comes first. Let's see. Another thing to speed it up, you cannot step out of the box, period. There's no calling time. There's none of that. You're in the box the whole time. And that actually comes into play in a couple of the next few rules as well. So I'll be bringing back up that stepping out rule a couple times. But rule number 4, I think, is maybe the one that most people like, and it is that bunting sucks. Don't do it. It's against the rules.
That was my favorite part about reading the rules. That.
It's legitimately no bunting. 2 sentences. No period. Bunting, period. I guess it's not technically sentences. But then when they explain it in the stadium, everybody in the stadium chants, bunting sucks. Which is really fun. Let's be real.
And I believe the follow-up rule is that if you do bunt, you get ejected from the game.
I believe that is correct. In fact, let me... Yes, if a hitter bunts, they're ejected from the game. Now, rule number 5. On any pitch of an at bat, the hitter can try and steal first. Now, this is where the stepping out of the box comes into play. If you leave the box as I might try and steal, and then you don't, then you're out immediately. You can't take like 1 foot out of the box, like I'm going, and then decide to stop and continue the at bat. You're just out.
I feel like you should be able to like slide back into home to be safe again, but.
Okay. Well, save that for later, because I have a place I want this conversation to go that I think that'd be good.
Okay.
Rule number 6, no walks allowed. You get to 4 balls, then every defensive player minus the pitcher and the catcher has to touch the ball to make it a live ball. The runner can go as far as they want. And as long as they don't get tagged out after it's a live ball, they get to stay at whatever base they stop at.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. Because it's not like you're just going to have 4 wild pitches and then someone's just on first. It makes it so that the the defense still has a chance to get you out if you're greedy and try and go to second or to third or whatever. And just to see the entire field crash in to try and touch this ball is electric.
Yeah, so it's literally adding action to a walk play, which is obviously the most boring play that you can pretty much see.
Which also means there is no intentional walks,
Right.
which is even more boring.
Yeah.
So, rule number 7: no mound visits. Period. Because you only get 2 hours, we got to keep the game going to try and get through 9 innings. So no coach, catcher, or other player can approach the mound at any time to pause the action. You have to hype your pitcher up from afar if needed.
So there's no pitching changes in the middle of innings.
No. Or at least not that I've seen. There might be a way for it to happen. I'm sure injuries for sure would do it, but I've not seen it personally. Rule number 8, and this one is super fun, and this one has actually come into play a few times here in the last couple games. If a fan catches a foul ball, it is an out. Fans are players. Straight up. Keeps fans engaged in the game, keeps fans trying to catch the ball, gets fans bringing their gloves to the stadium. It's super fun. I had a question about if a fan caught a home run, would that also be an out? Would it be a robbed home run? And I don't think that is the case. I think this is just for foul balls, but I think they should consider it.
Oh, man.
That'd just be so mean. Coach Rat comes up and just crushes one into the concourse, and some guy just accidentally catches it in his popcorn. That'd be great. Rule number 9. So if the game is tied at the end of the 2-hour time limit, it goes into a showdown tiebreaker. And each showdown, the hitter must score. If they score, it's worth a point. If they get out, no points, and it's called a showdown shutdown. So round 1 is the pitcher, catcher, and one fielder versus one hitter. Round 2 is a pitcher and catcher versus one hitter. And round 3 is a pitcher, catcher, and one fielder versus one hitter with the bases loaded.
Yeah, this might be the most intriguing rule that I read, because it just seems like it opens it up to all kinds of different alignments of like where your fielder goes, and it also reminds me of Bugs Bunny playing all the positions.
Yep, pretty much. Which is probably where they got that, to be honest.
Probably.
Let's see. So in the final showdown, every run counts as a point. If no team is won after the 3 showdowns, they continue with the bases loaded until one fielder until one team is won. If at any point in those 3 rounds of tiebreaker, a home run is hit over the outfield wall, it is a walk-off. Period. Doesn't matter if they go first, doesn't matter if they go second. It's sort of the only thing that would compare to the NFL's overtime rule. Which I don't love the NFL's overtime rule, but this is way harder in my opinion. So I'm okay with it. We got 2 rules left. All right. So rule number 10, the banana ball challenge rule. So each team is allowed to challenge one ruling throughout the course of the game. The coach will have a challenge prop or item that they must throw or shoot onto the field before the next pitch for the play to be challenged. The play will be reviewed by the broadcast, and the call will be replayed to the umpire field chief to make the call. If a team wins the challenge and the call is overruled, they retain the challenge. If it is upheld or inconclusive, they lose their opportunity to challenge for the rest of the game. You can only challenge 3 categories: fair foul, force and tag plays, and catch plays in the outfield or infield, which do include fan foul ball catches. So, and that is a key that you will probably want to remember for later. Then there's also a fan challenge. So there is one fan that represents the entire stadium, and they have the opportunity to challenge one play a night. If the fan representative chooses to make a challenge, they shoot off confetti and hold up the fan challenge sign to make it official. And then finally, the golden batter rule. So one time a game, the team may send any hitter in the lineup to bat in any spot. Your best hitter can hit when the game is on the line, basically. So they could hit back to back in one inning if the team chooses to do so. But yeah, so that is the rules of Banana Ball. Everything else is standard baseball. And honestly, most of the rules they have, I really like. They're just super entertaining. There's nothing that's like too obscene. Like, what are your thoughts on just the rules as I have read them to you and you read them earlier?
Yeah, I think they definitely get your brain thinking, and like they're very intriguing, but they're also, like you said, they're not so wild that we've never like heard of the rules. In fact, a number of the rules, like the wild pitch one, they tried like a variant of that in the, what is it, like the Atlantic League or whatever?
Yeah, the Atlantic League.
Yeah, where they've tried other minor league rules just to see how they would play out in in conjunction with MLB. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the golden batter rule is another one that I think people have talked about for a long time.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's been gaining like popularity with Jason Stark writing about it and stuff. So they're not that crazy, the rules, and obviously MLB has a precedent of introducing rules. Obviously, they don't go to the extremes right away. They'll do the minor league testing, but they brought us stuff like the DH or now the pitch clock.
The pitch clock, the step offs, maxed out at 2 or it's a balk.
Yeah. So as straight laced as baseball seems, they also in MLB have made changes over the years. Banana Ball is kind of ramping that up faster, and they're bringing like more intriguing rules, and they don't like worry about baseball history or anything like that. They can just go have fun with it.
Yeah. And so they came up with these 11 rules that all make quite a bit of sense and have been playing them in exhibition games from 2018 to 2022 while they were still a collegiate summer league team playing actual regular baseball collegiate summer league. And then in 2023, they went full time as just Banana Ball with 3 other teams that are their partnering teams in the oddly enough, only one of them has like a city in the name or like a location in the name. I say city, it's Texas Tailgaters, then the Firefighters and the Party Animals. So those are the 4 teams in the Banana Ball League. And
I got one more question, like related to rules.
Yes.
That I didn't hear covered. What's the deal with that guy that like comes out on the stilts?
What do you mean?
What rule is that?
It's not one.
Okay.
He just wears stilts. He comes out, he pitches a full inning. It's just normal.
I didn't know you could wear stilts in baseball. You said if it wasn't covered by the 11 rules, then it was just standard baseball.
Yeah, but standard baseball doesn't have a rule against it. It's just a competitive disadvantage.
I suppose.
So, because imagine if a comebacker hits the stilt and breaks it in half. Competitive disadvantage. You fall.
Very unfortunate, yeah.
Yes, it would. But yeah, so there's no technical rule about that. And I mean, this is very much Harlem Globetrotters inspired this a bit. And then part of it is that I see, I think they watched the Will Ferrell movie Semi-Pro. Because in Semi-Pro, part of the thing that Jackie Moon is doing, trying to get people to come watch the Tropics, is he's having the team do choreography and wear costumes and do all these crazy things in timeouts and at halftime and whatever. And it's very reminiscent of that. Like they have whole choreographed dances that they'll do in the game. And so it yeah, like this, it's a very, very unique form of baseball that is definitely seems like it would be pure, oh shoot, what's the word, it, pure clickbait sort of thing,
yeah,
where it seems like it's not real baseball. You know who's going to win every game. It's like the Harlem Globetrotters with the Washington Generals. You know who's going to win that game when you go. It's going to be a blowout.
That's literally exactly what I was going to say, because the owner, Jesse Cole, he actually hated the comp to the Harlem Globetrotters, because he said, in that show, you know what happens every time. In our show, it's actually competitive.
Yeah.
You don't know who's going to win the game every time.
Yeah, which I get why people make that comp. It's the only modern thing that we have that is reminiscent of it in the slightest.
Yeah.
So other than a fictitious Will Ferrell movie, which is more out there than normal fiction, you have the Harlem Globetrotters. And other than that, the only thing that you have that you could even kind of compare it to is minor league baseball in general, with all of the between innings gags and things that they do to keep people involved. And from in the 1950s and 60s, there was a Negro Leagues baseball team known as the Indianapolis Clowns, who, if you listen to this podcast fairly regularly, you've heard me talk about a lot. They're the team where Hank Aaron got his start. They're the team that had the only 3 major league professional women. So like they were known as the Clowns because of things like this that they would do. They're basically the reason that the minor leagues do what they do. And that's maybe the single best comp that you have for the Bananas. But then they still take it to the extreme.
I was going to say, this is sort of like a throwback in a way, because we used to have barnstorming, and this is like modern barnstorming. Like they literally call it barnstorming.
Yeah.
And we just haven't had it in a long time, as things just got more rigid, and we had all the affiliated leagues, and then we had, other unaffiliated minor leagues, but it was still like a very structured kind of thing. These are exhibition games for fun. There's no standings. They don't I don't know if they keep track of like stats or anything like that. It's just,
they do to a point from what I can tell, but there's like, you're not going to go on to Fangraphs and be able to find all the stats like you can with the KBO, the MPB, MLB, Negro Leagues, and minor leagues, and college for that matter. So like there's no like official record book, but they do keep some stats. They keep trick plays. Trick plays is an actual stat that they track. In fact, in the game on Saturday, they had the single player, single game trick play record was set. Like the shortstop, I think, made like 12 trick plays by the end of the night. Like it was stupid.
What's a trick play?
Literally anything that makes your job more complicated.
Like
so
wearing stilts?
Wearing stilts. The outfielders, one of them actually did a full backflip and caught the ball mid backflip on a fly ball to the warning track. The shortstop really everyone would do this on a fly ball. Instead of just setting up under it, catching the fly ball and being done with it, they'll hit it with the side of their glove, pop it up, and play popcorn with themselves for a bit and then catch it. There was one where it was a pop up to the second baseman, kind of near second base. And so they played popcorn with the second baseman, shortstop, and pitcher to get the out. The shortstop actually caught a ground ball, bounced it between his legs from behind to in front, caught it, and then whipped it to first for an out. Like, but those are what were doing for trick plays. Like, it's just anything that is showmanship makes your job harder and you still get it done.
Yeah, and that kind of like leads into the who are these guys that are actually playing? They're not just they're not like actors. They're actual like pro baseball players that have history of being like top players, right? That MLB drafted players and former college players.
Yeah,
These
some
guys
of
are
these
good.
guys made it to double A, triple A, but they're guys who they kind of maxed out. They weren't going to be in the majors. They're all super young still. Like, pretty much there was one inning where all the walk-up music was the number one song from the month they were born. Every single player that came up that inning was younger than me, which hurt a little bit.
You're getting kind of old.
I am, and I don't love that. But you know what? Whatever. Oh, by the way, they do actually track all the stats. I have the stats page up now, and like they are even doing like BABIP and ISO and like,
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Caught stealing a first, but they have on the page they have um denotation for a stat that is specific to only Banana Ball. So like steals at first base, all four sprints, foul outs to fans.
Are they tracking bunt ejections?
Total bases, caught stealings.
This guy just really wants to bunt, even though
Golden
he knows
batter
he's going to get thrown
opportunities.
out of the game.
Jake Skull for I think that's the Party Animals, has been a golden batter 12 times this year. But he also leads the league in hits with 85. So, makes sense. I'm not seeing anything about bunt ejections, unless that would be considered like fielding or no. They do have trick play outs, which is outs recorded using extraordinary and unique defensive plays. Trick play missed, and trick play rate. So your number of trick plays over the per game. And Ryan Cox, the guy who set the single game record, has a trick play rate of 2.8 trick plays per game. And he had at least 9 for sure. They've also had some visitors like that they get stats in the official stats page. So that's fun. But yes, what were we talking? We were talking about who these guys are that are playing. So I think the one thing that people look at with maybe Banana Ball as opposed to like Major League Baseball, and this is something that my other sister, so my older sister is the one that really likes watching Banana Ball. She actually, that's the only thing she turns ESPN on for at all is Banana Ball. My other sister doesn't believe Banana Ball is real baseball. Well, I'm kind of here in the middle saying, well, it is real baseball. It's also just more interesting baseball. Now the players are not the top 25,000 players of all time, because those guys have all made it to the major leagues and have played in the major leagues. And these guys are incredibly, incredibly talented baseball players, still probably in the top 1% of anyone in the world. And they have arguably a harder job because they have to do it while making trick plays that most people don't practice. Like, I bet you Ellie De La Cruz is not going to come out here, start bouncing a ball between his legs before he whips it to first. If he did, that'd be incredible. You're not going to see Victor Scott II do a backflip while trying to catch a fly ball.
He could do it though.
Well, not right now. He has a sprained ankle and is on the injured list. But
oh, poor guy.
Yeah, Ozzie Smith could have done it. In fact, Ozzie's about the only one I think that could have done it. But you're not going to see any of those guys that we say are the greatest baseball players to ever play. You're not going to see them succeed in banana ball. I mean, they could hit the ball for sure, but there's other aspects of this game that they just wouldn't be good at. And so I think that the guys that are in this league don't get a whole lot of love for being as good of baseball players as they are. People think it's just a gimmick, and but these guys are awesome. Like just looking at the stats page again, I believe Coach Rack is actually not leading the league in home runs. He's not even leading the Bananas in home runs, but like Robert Anthony Cruz, number 15, Coach Rack, he's probably one of the most talented pure baseball players in this league. And he's hit 9 home runs. He's hitting 281, 323, 506. And you could say, yeah, the pitching's not as good as in the major leagues. No, it's not. But you don't get a timeout. You don't get to step out of the box. It's constantly swing. As soon as the ball's not on the field anymore, another pitch, another pitch, another pitch. You're not going to see major league players be able to do that at that pace. They're so accustomed to doing something one way that if you tried to take them immediately and put them into banana ball, they will not succeed immediately. They could adapt, I'm sure. They're not going to be able to do it right off the bat. Let's see. What else trying to think what else would be the... Okay, so the game. One, this was at Wright Field. And you've heard us talk about the White Sox and me going to a lot of White Sox games because I go to probably 3 or 4 a year at this point. I have never once seen the concession stands that weren't immediately behind home plate in the 500s levels open. Ever. There's never been enough people there to open more than one concession stand in the 500s. Well, the Savannah Bananas and the Firefighters sold out Wright Field 2 nights in a row. Sold out. Everybody showed up. There was not an empty seat. There was not an empty parking spot. They sold out of parking a week before the game. And then we bought parking and we still almost didn't get a spot. We got the last spot in Lot F. Period. Like they turned away the car after us and said, we have room for this car. That's it. So like we got the last spot. So the Bananas are selling out. Just nationwide. It's selling out in the good way. Selling out in the good way. But then the game was just incredible. Like I'm obviously a baseball truther. I think is maybe the way to phrase it. And I knew this was going to be different, but the entire time people were engaged. The music plays nonstop. There's never a moment where there is not music being played. The players just have to play through it. They have so many like special things that they're doing. They come up with like all these between innings gags like a minor league game. They try and do everything for the location they're playing. So they did some choreography and lip syncing to songs from the musical Chicago. They did that a couple times throughout the game. They did I think they called it the Breaking Wind City race. So they had 2 families of 4 that were doing a relay around the bases, but instead of like a baton or something, they had to sit on a whoopee cushion because, Windy City. And like they were doing all these things. There's the banana baby of the game. They get like a 4-month-old baby that they put in a banana costume, and they do the whole Simba thing. And they have this whole speech about how this baby was born for this moment that it will never remember. And they have so much fun with it. They have the entire stadium is just karaokeing the whole game. It's almost a little bit distracting. Like if you have ADHD, you're gonna be so lost, because you're gonna be picking one thing and focus on it, and then realize there's like a million other things happening, and you've not seen any of them. There was an entire half inning where I didn't realize they had thrown a pitch because there was so much going on. And in that moment where I wasn't paying attention, they loaded the bases. So it's like, this is exciting baseball. And there's all this stuff going on. Like you're watching trick plays and then not realizing that there's people running around the bases. It's like, it was so overwhelming and it was so incredible.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Now,
we're going to be bored when we go to the Braves game next week.
That's what I was just saying. I sent that in one of my group chats here yesterday, actually. It's like, well, shoot, what am I going to do now? It's going to be quiet. But yeah, I guess, God, there's so much in my head. Now I can't even think of what to say. Guests. So one of the other things that the Savannah Bananas do, especially when they're on like the Banana Ball World Tour like they are right now, playing in all these major league stadiums, which I believe they're scheduled to play in all 30, right? Maybe not Sacramento, maybe not Tampa. They're gonna play in the other 28 for sure, I think. But now I just forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, the guests. Yeah, the guests. Sorry, like I said, it was an overstimulating. Everything is just. They'll bring in guests from the teams that own the stadium they're playing in, and so since we were at Wright Field, they brought out for the game I was at, they brought out Ozzie Guillen and Paul Konerko. For the night before, they brought out Mark Burley and AJ Pierzynski. And they don't just bring them out and go like, hey, we have legends of your team here. They play in the game. Like, Ozzie didn't go up to bat because Ozzie hasn't played since 97. But he took over for Maceo, the first base coach, and he was sitting there and yelling at the umpires and doing all that stuff. Paul Konerko came up and got an at bat. He didn't get a hit. He got out. But, Burley came in and pitched to AJ Pierzynski behind the plate. Like, they make it a big deal. They'll do these fun entrances for everybody. They'll, it's so fun. And we actually got the opportunity. I know that I've talked with Ashley on the podcast here about her, and I believe you and I have talked about her before as well. Kelsey Whitmore actually signed a contract with the Bananas for a month, and she is traveling with them for a month on this world tour and playing. And so Kelsey Whitmore came in and pitched for an inning. And so we got to see that. We got to see they actually had the coach from the Firefighters come in to take an at bat against her. So you got to see two women facing off against each other on Wright Field, which is not something you're ever really going to get to see again. So, well, you will in our lifetime, but you haven't seen it yet. So that stadium's been around since what, 91?
I think so. Something like that. Yeah.
Something I was thinking about. Is this the first sellout of Wright Field since opening day of 91?
No. What are you talking about? I went to a Sox game in 2021. I'm pretty sure it was sold out when they made the playoffs that year.
Really?
I think so.
Was that the game that we went to against the Orioles?
No, that was 2022.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say that was also a rain delay game. Oh, speaking of rain delay, we had an hour and a half rain delay.
Yeah.
Which really throws a wrench into the whole 2 hour thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun though. They came out and they said, we don't care about lightning. We're not afraid of it. And so they've got Maceo dancing on the tarp and all that. He was doing just like a whole Michael Jackson medley, dancing to it. It was real fun. And then all of a sudden it like got to the point where the lightning was so bad. They're like, everybody get out of the seating bowl. We care about lightning a little bit. We lied. So then they had the players all walk through the concourse and it was so packed you couldn't move. Like, I've never been in that crowded of a baseball stadium during a rain delay in my life.
Yeah. I mean, I was reading about like the hundreds of thousands of people that are on waiting lists in Chicago and all across the country. Like people are waiting to see this team, and the owner has not raised the prices, right? Like the tickets are just $35 or something.
So they're $40 if you can get them from the team, and that is the kicker. So there's a lottery system. You enter the lottery. If you win the lottery, you get a chance to buy 5 tickets. That is the max you could buy. $40 a piece. They're all together. When you buy them together, that doesn't necessarily mean they're all going to be in the same row. Which I know from personal experience because I was sitting in seat 1 of row 12 of section 537. My friends were seats 1 through 4 of row 13 of section 537. So I was directly in front of them. It's not like we were separated or anything. I could still talk to my friends, and honestly, it was probably better because instead of like trying to lean across and talk across 3 people, I could just turn around and look at all 3 or all 4 of them, and it was easier for discussion. But still kind of weird. But yeah, so just trying to get a seat is incredibly difficult. I know people who have been in the lottery system for like 6 different events and still not got picked. Britt, who I do Twin Bird Breaks with, which I know we've dropped the link for Twin Bird Breaks in the descriptions of the podcast before. I don't know if I've ever talked about it like during the actual podcast. But that's one of my baseball card things that I'm doing with my buddy Britt up in the Chicagoland area. He actually got into the lottery, got picked, got us 5 seats, and so we got to go the first time we ever tried. And you get to pick across the 2 days. So you enter the raffle for the city, and it's still Taylor Swift, like Hunger Games level of trying to get tickets. Yeah. So you have to get in when your slot is, because it's not just you win the lottery, everybody gets opened up at the same time. It's you're in the lottery to get a time slot to have a chance to buy a ticket, and they could be sold out before your time slot's there. So you got to be on it.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that we haven't really talked about with the Savannah Bananas that is like part of the reason why they have this popularity is because they do such a ridiculously good job of promoting their product through the internet, through social media. I'm not the guy that gets to see that because I'm not really a social media user, but I do know that like some of their players are more popular than MLB players that are like superstars.
Oh yeah, Coach Rack that I keep referencing. Robert Anthony Cruz. He goes by Coach Rack on TikTok, on Instagram. He's like one of the most popular baseball presences on Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. Like the Bananas are so good at short form content. They can take this game that they have designed as a 2-hour live action TikTok. That's what it is. The music that they're playing on the loudspeaker, it is to a T. They're not just like turning on a song and letting it play for 3.5 minutes. They'll sometimes have 5 seconds of song, and then it'll just randomly cut and beat drop to Nothing Beats a Jet 2 Holiday. Or Whopper, 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 double, junior, triple, Whopper. And they're just going in anything that was like massive on social media as a trend is incorporated into the game. And it's incredible. Like this, it's designed for everybody to want to watch it. With the entertainment value, there is something for everybody. Like trick plays might be something that interests like people my age, because they want to see the baseball, which is really, really good competitive baseball. And then you see a trick play and you're like, that was amazing. Meanwhile, there's a 5-year-old over here that's like, while that was happening, the beat drop to Nothing Beats a Jet 2 Holiday just so happened to be at the exact time that he hit a double into the gap. Like it was perfect timing, a complete accident, but then they'll take those moments and put them on TikTok and they'll blow up into millions of views. It's incredible. I really don't have any other words for it. You just get so overwhelmed that your vocabulary goes to like 3 things.
Yeah. I would definitely want to check it out at some point.
I would be more than happy to go with you if we can make it happen. I will say, in its current format, I don't know that rewatchability is a huge thing. Like, yes, the games are all going to be different. After going to the first game, I'm not sitting here like, let's go tomorrow. It was almost such an overstimulating experience for me that I could go in a month and a half, but I'm not going to turn on ESPN tomorrow to watch the next game. The Bananas are on a 15-game winning streak, which is not by design. It just, some of the better players in the league are all on the Bananas because that's who you're paying to see. And so they just happen to be on better than Milwaukee Brewers winning streak. But at the same time, I think this is such a perfect idea that could turn into something with rewatchability. The biggest qualm that I had with this was that I only know one player after that game. And that one player is Coach Rack. I could not tell you the name of another player. Like, they don't make a big deal about the individual players. The big deal is about the spectacle. Or
anything?
What was that?
They don't like put them on the scoreboard when they come to bat?
They do a little bit, but like, honestly, I didn't even think to look at the scoreboard. Like,
you were busy.
Yeah. Well, and like the scoreboard they had just as like live feed of what was happening on the field. So like they didn't have a massive graphics package. They did have ball strikes, who's pitching, who's hitting, but like they'll say over the loudspeaker who's coming up to bat. But with all the music and everything that's playing at the same time, you can't really hear it. And you only see a handful of jerseys throughout the stadium that are player-specific jerseys. Usually it's just like a generic Savannah Bananas #1. It doesn't have a name involved. But like Correll Prime, he is he's a two-way player for the Bananas. He was playing first base. I believe he's number 11. The only reason I know him is because Britt goes, "This is Correll Prime. I like him a lot. Watch him." I was like, okay, I can watch him. But like, I'm scrolling through the stats page here, and for the 2 teams that I've watched, I recognize like 3 names. And I just watched an entire 9-inning game. So I really think that they need to do a better job of marketing individual players as well as the team and the league itself, because they're so good at marketing their product.
I feel like
But
that is happening. That's happening though, right? With the individual players, TikToks and stuff. That's why they're getting followings, and like your friend knows who the guy is because he's a bigger follower of the league than you.
well, he knows about it because he's read Jeremiah, Justin Cole, Jeremiah, the owner. What's his name?
Jesse Cole.
Jesse Cole. He's read Jesse Cole's book and like done a little bit more research into it because he was the one that was getting us the tickets. I don't know that he like follows any of these guys on TikTok. But like it's one of those that unless you're into TikTok specifically, you have no idea about any individual player. And I really think they have an opportunity where they could take Banana Ball from being a 4-team barnstorming league, because it is a league. They have 4 teams that they all rotate who they're playing against. And there's even on this tour, they won't be in the major league stadiums, but the 2 teams that aren't playing are playing somewhere else. And so while we were watching the Bananas and the Firefighters, the Party Animals and the Texas Tailgaters were playing in some minor league stadium somewhere else. So like they have a product that they could sell and be able to have these massive followings at multiple locations at once. But they're putting all their time and effort into only promoting the Bananas, and everyone else is just kind of there. And so if I were them, I would start promoting individual players in more mainstream situations, make a big deal about the trick plays record for shoot, I already forgot who it was. Ryan Cox. Make a big deal about his trick plays record. Make a big deal about the home runs and who your home run hitters are and who your best pitchers are, and make it not just the Bananas. Teach me about somebody on the Firefighters, because the entire time nobody was rooting for the Firefighters. They were all rooting for the Bananas, even though you could buy Firefighters merch at one merch tent. And so like they have an opportunity to grow it into an actual league, because they want it to be competitive ball. There's an opportunity here for so many other guys who, quite frankly, aren't going to make it in Major League Baseball in that clique of 30 teams, 26 men on the big league roster at any given time. There's so many other great baseball players that exist that aren't going to get that opportunity. This is a place where they could be able to do that, and people will want to watch them.
I guess the counterpoint is that as you go towards a typical league format where, like, you know, maybe you have a schedule and you got standings and maybe you got a World Series or something, then don't you have to get rid of some of the fun quirks, like the coach being able to bat in the game? You have to go towards a standardization, and you don't have to do that when every game's an exhibition and it's a show.
Yes and no. I think there is a way they could do it and keep the integrity of the game the way they have it now. Because I don't think you're trying to be a direct competitor to MLB and you're trying to take players away from MLB and do it that way. I feel this is something that you could do separate and unrelated. Like, if MLB can take some of these rules and incorporate it into their game, fantastic. But you have such a beautiful opportunity here to make lifelong fans of Banana Ball a variant on America's pastime. Banana Ball has an exhibit in the Hall of Fame. It's been recognized by some of the greatest Hall of Famers as one of the coolest things they've seen. Lee Smith and Jesse Cole actually met each other when Jesse Cole was 5 years old. Lee Smith didn't know that, but there's a picture of the two of them together in the Fenway dugout. And Lee Smith just so happened to be one of the 2 Hall of Famers that was there for the unveiling of the exhibit. And Jesse Cole brought the picture. And so then they, like, kept going and talking about it, and there's such a cool story here. There's backers in like just traditional baseball that think this is incredible, and I don't think you would have to change it. I think really the only thing you need to do is just make it so that there's more awareness of the other teams and that people want to go see these other 3 teams as well. Like, you don't have to have a farm system and we're playing for a World Series every year, and if you don't win, you're useless. Like, you still keep this an entertainment first league. It would be like arena football. Like, arena football is it was a very successful league. It was definitely not going to try and overtake the NFL, but I think they could take something from the model of the Arena Football League, combine it with what they have for Banana Ball, market all 4 teams to the same extent, and take their millions of fans that they have from Tokyo, Japan to Maine, which they've played in all those places and sold out all of those places. Just give people a few more opportunities to see the product, even if they can't see this team. And that's what you're going for, right?
I wonder how much of that is just because it's dependent on the specific owner of the other organizations, right? To pump money into it and do the same promotion that Jesse Cole has done for the Bananas, right?
WWE. It's all owned by one corporation. That's all, like, it's all scripted for WWE. But there's other organizations that don't seem like they would make sense to model yourself after that you could, and you can make this successful. Like, it is an entertainment first venture. It's not we want Shohei Ohtani to come out and put up all his stats here to be the greatest baseball player of all time. I mean, I'm sure they would love it. That would be incredible. But they're not going out and trying to find the best baseball players. They're trying to find the best baseball players that are also entertainers. So I don't know. I feel like this is a very unique opportunity. I feel like you could do it if you had a few select partners that are all on the same page, or if you did it as basically one corporation that owns it. IndyCar is owned by one family. Like, the entire circuit of IndyCar is owned by the Holman family, who just so happen to be who the college we went to is named after. But you could do it. It would be difficult, but it's a scalable product, and I think scaling it and doing a few select things would make it so much more accessible for your typical baseball fan, as well as these 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids that you're trying to get to love the game of baseball. I don't know. I loved it. I think it's a great idea. I will go back. I just right now would not go back for 13, 15 games a year like I do for MLB.
Very interesting. I've got to check it out. I feel like even you describing it for the last hour, I don't know, like I just got to experience it to really understand.
It's not something that you can just listen to one person's opinion and go, okay, I'm going to like it or not. It is an experience first. And then you got to figure out what you like about it and what you don't. But this is just all one man's opinion of a massively overstimulating, hot, humid, stormy night. So I highly recommend that if you get an opportunity at any stadium, whether it be a major league stadium, whether it be their home stadium in Savannah, whether they're out in Texas against the Tailgaters, because they do play at each other's home stadiums, and all 4 teams have a home stadium. Go watch Banana Ball. go learn about Banana Ball and why it exists. Because Banana Ball is everything to do with small market, small time baseball, trying to make a name for themselves to be able to support themselves, their families, and the families of the players on the team, that just so happened to blow up for that exact reason. And I think everybody should be aware of it. And I think there's a lot to learn from a marketing standpoint, from a club ownership standpoint, from a how do we improve a sport that's existed for almost 175 years standpoint. Like, there's so many little things that you could learn, even if you don't like baseball. How do I do better at social media? Follow the bananas. How do I do better at backflips? Follow the bananas. They're not putting themselves in a box, and that's why it works. So you just listen to me rant for about an hour on an experience that I had, and Gautam had very little time to actually say anything. Sorry about that.
Hey,
Gautam.
I was also on the south side of Chicago on Saturday night, but I was in Chinatown.
What were you doing in Chinatown? Did you get any good food?
I did, yeah. Had some really good food, and my brother was DJing.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
You should have told me. We would have come out after the game.
It was like around, I think it was at the time of the game.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to be there. Yeah. Oh, well. Well, cool. Well, do you have any closing thoughts? I'll give you at least 2 minutes of me not saying a word if you want it.
No, I think you covered it a lot there. I feel like I have a better sense of what it is, and yeah, I'm very intrigued by the whole situation.
Yeah, and I have a feeling when we go down to Atlanta next week, which for those of you who are regular listeners, we're probably not going to have an episode next week, or at least not at the normal time, because we're going to be on flights back to our respective homes from Atlanta, where we're doing Getaway Weekend. This year is Weekend Part 2. So I have a feeling that being in Georgia, though, we're going to see a lot of Savannah Bananas stuff. So,
yep.
But yeah, so if you don't have anything else, I think that's a pretty good spot for us to wrap it up.
Sounds good.
All right, so thank you all very, very much, and we will see you back here in 2 weeks. If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcasting app or YouTube to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Getaway Day Pod. If you enjoy card collecting, check out our sister YouTube channel at Getaway Day Cards.